Good morning. I'm Specialist Brendan Parrish. I will be giving a presentation on accountability of the leader. Now, that is a very broad term whenever it comes to accountability of a leader. We're going to discuss, what it is, what is accountability of the leader, what it is exactly. Then we're going to discuss maintaining leadership accountability. And then after that, then we will, what accountability of the leader means to me, and what it also means to the Army, and so on and so forth, such as that. So, all right, let's get started. Accountability of the leader. Accountability of the leader is to keep your leadership or the leadership accountable for their actions and the decisions that they make every day on day-to-day tasks, such as let's just say aircraft maintenance or vehicle maintenance, troops to task, things of that nature, even as simple as monthly counselings, PT. Your leaders have to be held accountable for all of these things, not just what they feel they need to be accountable for. But as new leaders going through this course, this applies to everybody that is in NCO or put into a lead position in charge of subordinates or other soldiers or friends and such, including on maintenance tasks. Okay, what is accountability of the leader? Well, like we discussed on the last one, what it is accountability. What accountability is whenever you are in charge of something and something goes wrong, you take responsibility for that action or what happened, what didn't happen. Makes sense. What it means to the Army. Now, the Army has a specific standard of whatever it means to accountability. Granted, this could be, troops, subordinates, your team, your platoon, whatever level of leadership you are at or they are at. Their accountability is also not just about soldiers or themselves. It's about themselves, that leader, maintaining his troops, the troops' morale, and as well as his personal stuff that he needs to have taken care of, such as medical, physical fitness. Accountability goes across the board. This doesn't just apply to his responsibilities on the job. It also applies to his accountability and responsibilities outside of the Army, outside of the platoon, outside of the company, and so on and so forth. What does it mean to the subordinates? Accountability to the subordinates means that they need to be, that the leader, their leader, NCOs, have to be held accountable for the actions that they take for them. You have to be able to trust your leadership to be able to account for your soldiers, account for their well-being, the maintenance, their weapons, it's just the leader has to be you have to be able to hold your leader accountable to the fact that he is there to be, account for everything that you have to do: med pros, counselings, physical fitness, marksmanship, maintenance standards, and maintenance tasks. You have to have it means that he has to be able to take care of you. It has to be his accountability. You are part of his accountability checks as a subordinate. So whenever it comes to maintaining leadership accountability, so whenever it comes to maintaining all of this, what happens is that your leaders excuse me, Maintaining leadership accountability. How to maintain leadership accountability is they are always constantly checking on, what they have to do. So accountability of the leader means that a lot to junior soldiers. So that's part of their tasks. For the subordinates, it also shows that this shows that leader is able to accept the responsibilities as a leader, as a teacher, to the subordinates, and that they are able to trust the person as their leader. It is important for this. The reason for this are that junior soldiers are going to be put into leadership roles at some point in the Army career. And they must be ready for that whenever that time arises. These soldiers having leadership that can teach them proper accountability and everything like that is important. For it teaches them to be accountable for themselves in the future, and whenever they become a leader, they're soldiers. Leaders teaching young soldiers to have accountability is a stepping stone for them to be accountable for equipment and other soldiers. In the future, leaders being accountable for equipment, soldiers' paperwork, and themselves is a huge responsibility that they will have to maintain in future years, or tasks, or and such. Leaders holding themselves accountable sets a huge example for the junior enlisted soldiers to follow, so that they may teach newer soldiers coming straight out of basic training and AIT, coming after them. A leader setting a standard for accountability is important, for it sets an example for juniors. The importance of maintaining accountability of themselves as well as their subordinates for betterment of the team as a whole. And the mission accountability is when the individual leader for the entirety of the leadership in the company, the battalion, the brigade, the division, is responsible for paperwork, supply, and just decisions in general, and the welfare of the soldiers. Accountability is an important part of leadership due to the fact that the leadership is held to a higher standard above junior enlisted soldiers, because they are the senior leaders of the Army. They are the ones who teach the junior soldiers what to do and what not to do, and how to do it properly and effectively. A leader setting a standard for accountability is important, for it sets an example, like we said before. Elsewhere, this is important because most of the time the accountability is a second thought in a mindset of leaders, for the properties are set, or because their priorities are set elsewhere, and that is a problem for the team or teams that they are in charge of. This is due to these leaders making other tasks of more priority than their own accountability, such as maintenance, paperwork, as well as personal issues. This is not a bad thing per se. It's just, it can get in the way of proper accountability of all the smaller things that they are in charge of taking accountability for. This can cause your team to be damaged in trust in the long term, by causing junior soldiers to lose the trust in the leadership. Accountability is one of those things that builds trust with your team. Accountability should be made a priority by all leaders across the Army to better the productivity of the body as a whole for the junior soldiers and junior leaders. not just junior leaders and junior soldiers, but even for senior leadership and officers and warrant officers. If we can set up a continuous accountability of this for everybody, especially the leadership, everything should go smoothly and effectively. The accountability of the leader is important as to make sure that leadership is held to the same standard across the Army. Covered that one. But this is a major problem across the Army as a whole due to the fact that the standards change from different units or other duty stations. The problem with this, it can cause great leadership at the previous duty station to seem like a subpar leader in the new unit, which turns that effect, in turn that affects the trust that their new team will have on that leader. Accountability is held to a different standard across Army depending on the more senior leadership, and that is a problem that does not get addressed as a problem. It is addressed as a personal problem for other leadership. Now, I will for me, whenever it comes to what does it mean to me, holding myself accountable as a leader is to where I take care of my soldiers. I take care of the paperwork. I make sure that they have their paperwork in order, that they have their make sure that they're financially sound before making a big purchase, guiding them to do certain things that they need to. Accountability for my equipment, myself, my physical fitness, my medical health, and everything as such. That's what it means to me, is to make sure that my soldiers can trust me, to make sure that they are ready for whatever may come towards them. And with that being said, this concludes my public speaking presentation. I'll now take questions at this time. And if there are no questions, they're all dismissed.